order gets mixed up.
The man named David at the reception desk said indifferently. I had been waiting at the bank with a ticket, but no matter how long I waited, my turn didn't come for over 30 minutes. I know the order seems to be mixed up, but I've been waiting quite a while, I told him. Naturally, anyone would come to inquire if people who arrived after them were being called first. However, David just sighed heavily and bluttered, "Yeah."
It varies based on the type of transaction.
He was blunt. Without even trying to make eye contact, David ignored me and cheerfully walked over to a very wealthy-looking woman, greeting her with welcome. Though stunned, I decided to wait a bit longer. But after another 30 minutes without being called, I decided to go back to the reception. That's when I came across David chatting with his colleague.
"This is bad, David. If we don't call in soon, it'll turn into a complaint."
It's fine. Let the poor wait. No one listens to a poor man's complaints.
That must be about me. I was absolutely dumbfounded by his words. However, something is about to happen that will leave David at a loss for words. Why did David turn pale? My name is James. I am a banker. Even after several decades since joining as a fresh graduate, I'm still working tirelessly every day at this bank. I don't like to brag, but I am diligent and hardworking. I've always kept top performance over the years. It's the result of my efforts to be an example for newcomers and younger colleagues. I take good care of the newly joined colleagues and am always there to help them with their problems. It's taboo to act superior just because you can do your job well. I've seen colleagues who became isolated because they weren't respected. A respected colleague once taught me,
Listen, a top-notch banker shouldn't act superior. You have to care about your colleagues and subordinates as much as your customers.
Thanks to his advice, I was beloved by my subordinates and earned their trust. Of course, I always strive to provide polite and kind service to our customers. Sometimes, I see arrogant bankers and it really bothers me. I almost feel like lecturing them. It's truly rare, but occasionally there are people who look down on others, and such individuals consistently judge clients as superior or inferior. I've always made it a point to tell my subordinates not to do that until I'm blue in the face. When it's time to go home, I head straight home. I open the door and say, "I'm home."
Welcome back.
Amy greets me cheerfully.
Welcome home. Dinner is ready. I made your favorite grilled salmon.
Oh, that's great. I'll take it after a shower.
I thought you'd say that, so I've already got the bathroom ready.
Amy said this and went back to the kitchen. I quickly took off my jacket and headed to the changing room. Amy is capable and hardworking, a wonderful wife indeed. We've been married for 20 years. She's my beloved supporter. Thinking about it, we've never really fought, and only happy memories come to mind. We have a great relationship, and I've been spent a life blessed with both personal and professional abundance. The next day, after enjoying Amy's delicious grilled salmon, it was a rare day off, which we decided to spend at the sauna, a shared hobby with Amy. I thoroughly enjoyed the sauna, but then I remembered something I had to do. I fought for a while and decided to go to the bank near my house after coming back from the sauna. It's a subsidiary of our bank. I messaged the branch manager from the break room that I would stop by later. After enjoying the sauna, Amy and I got ready to leave the spa. Amy seemed very pleased, in a very good mood. I mentioned to her I'd like to stop by our subsidiary bank on the way home. She willingly agreed.
Are you sure it's okay to be so casual, though?
Huh? Her comment made me blink. Then, realizing we were wearing tracksuits, I exclaimed, "Oh." Indeed, it was quite a casual outfit. I hesitated for a moment but then decided it was fine since it was during private time, and so I fought. We arrived at the subsidiary bank and stepped inside. It seemed to be a very busy day, as the lobby was crowded with people. Despite having contacted the branch manager a few hours ago, it seemed he hadn't noticed me entering due to the busyness. I could have gone to the reception and asked for the branch manager, but seeing everyone busy made me hesitate. I thought maybe it was okay to just wait in line like any other customer, since we had time. I shared this thought with Amy. "That's fine," she quickly agreed. We took a seat on an available bench. Though it was crowded, I estimated it might take about 30 minutes. The reception was working efficiently, and the flow of people was fast. It might not take too long after all. Then a bright welcome greeted us. Turning around, a young female employee stood smiling.
If you'd like, I can assist you.
"No, that's okay. I've got a ticket already. Just waiting now," I told her. The employee furrowed her brow with an apologetic expression and said, "I'm very sorry for the inconvenience. It's quite busy today. We will call you in turn. Please wait a little longer." "That's okay, thank you," I said with a smile, and she grinned in relief. As she walked away, I noticed her nameplate read Sarah. Sarah was greeting every customer with a smile. Despite the rush, it was a pleasant sight, and just watching her made me feel good. Amy and I chatted for a while, but it seemed unusually slow. I checked my watch, and over 30 minutes had passed since we registered. Surely, it should be our turn soon. I thought so, but there was no sign of being called. At that moment, I noticed something. People who had arrived after us were being called ahead. Why could that be? Perhaps it was a mistake due to the busyness. I thought it was unlikely to be a mistake since the tickets were distributed by a machine. Amy frowned and said to me, "Something seems off, doesn't it?" While she was saying this, someone who arrived after us was called again. This is definitely wrong. I decided to go check at the counter. "Excuse me." I approached the counter and explained the situation. The man who dealt with me, probably in his mid-30s, had a nameplate that read David. David responded to my complaint with a look of annoyance and said indifferently,
The order can get mixed up."
"You say the order can get mixed up, but it seems like we have been waiting quite a long time. I understand that these things happen, but isn't this an excessive wait?" Then David sighed heavily and said bluntly, "It varies depending on the type of procedure." He wouldn't even make eye contact. His attitude was questionable. As I was about to speak, David suddenly turned cheerfully and said, "Welcome," and walked towards a very wealthy-looking woman. I was stunned but decided to wait a little longer. I returned to Amy, and after several more minutes, my number still hadn't been called. Despite waiting, there was no call. It was clear that they were intentionally and blatantly skipping my turn. But why? I don't quite understand why I'm being skipped in line. I couldn't understand why I was being deliberately pushed back like I was being targeted.
Hey, this is definitely strange. Should I ask them if it's really that bad?
Amy offered, but I shook my head lightly. "No, I'll go ask. Just wait here a little longer. I'm sorry to keep you waiting. Let's go out for a nice dinner tonight." After apologizing to Amy, I stood up to find out why. I caught the eye of Sarah, who had been bright and kind in the lobby, but she looked uncomfortable, averted her eyes, and looked down. What could be going on? When I went to the counter, I saw David talking with another employee, seemingly unaware of my presence, as he was engrossed in conversation.
"It's okay. Don't worry about it.
But isn't this too long of a wait?
Don't be so scared."
This is bad, David. If we don't call in soon, it'll become a complaint.
David laughed it off. That's not going to happen. It's all good.
No one listens to complaints from poor people.
I was dumbfounded by his words, and his younger colleague had a troubled look, probably thinking that what David was saying was absolutely unreasonable. But the tricky part is, because of the absolute hierarchy, a younger banker can't speak up against the older one. Even the words he just said must have taken a lot of courage. David frowned at his colleague, sighing, "Come on."
Don't be so scared. It's okay, really.
I'm not quite sure what he thinks is okay. The colleague seemed to feel the same, looking dissatisfied.
It's fine. Let the poor wait.
David pointed out my tracksuit and said, "A guy dressed like that obviously doesn't have money, so he's not an important customer." He explained to the colleague that their priority should be regular and wealthy clients. Finally understanding why I was being sidelined, I caught my reflection in the window. A gray tracksuit surely doesn't look wealthy. But judging someone solely by their appearance isn't right. It's not fair to assume someone is poor just because they are dressed casually. So, David judges customers by their appearance. I stood resolutely at the reception and said, "Excuse me."
Duh, you again. Can you wait? I told you we are calling people in order.
David replied, frowning and looking quite annoyed. For some reason, he seemed to be getting defensive, which made no sense. The one who should be upset is me. I've been waiting for over an hour now. My number has been skipped, and several customers who arrived after me have been called and finished their transactions. You said earlier that the order could change based on the type of transaction, but I don't think mine is that complicated. I asked David calmly, "Can you explain the reason?" Then, irritated, David unbelievably clicked his tongue at me, a customer. Such an attitude is truly unacceptable. Just as I was about to make a complaint, a voice came from the side. "Did you make it here?"
Oh, what? Kevin, the branch manager.
Yeah, long time no see. As I waved to the branch manager Kevin, he greeted me and said, "Our president, James, it's been a while." David's eyes widened in shock. "What?"
Have we kept you waiting too long?
"A bit, yes. I've been waiting in the lobby."
James, I am truly sorry for making you wait.
The branch manager deeply apologized to me. "No, it's okay," I assured him, but he apologized further for not having noticed my presence. I said, "It can't be helped with it being so crowded. Everyone was busy with customers, so I just took a ticket like any other client."
If you had only notified us in advance, we would have been pleased to arrange for you to wait in the back with refreshments.
"I'm sorry about that." While we were talking, David was standing there, his face pale. He blinked rapidly and had a look of disbelief on his face. Well, it's not surprising. The person thought to be a poor customer turned out to be the CEO of the headquarters. I had climbed the ranks through years of hard work to become the CEO. This bank is a subsidiary of the bank I lead as CEO. Thus, David is under my command. It was probably because the CEO had recently changed that no one at this bank, other than the branch manager, knew my face. David started apologizing to me fervently, saying, "I'm terribly sorry." However, his apology disappointed me because it wasn't what I had expected. He kept apologizing for not recognizing me as the new CEO, which was not the point. Even though I was taken aback, I prompted David to lift his head and explained, "That's not the point. David, that's not what I want you to apologize for. You assumed I was poor because I was dressed casually in a tracksuit. It's your attitude of judging customers by their appearance that I find upsetting. Judging customers by their appearance is absolutely unacceptable. I told him that I expect kindness and politeness toward everyone. David listened to my words silently, his face turning red and teary-eyed. His attitude looked humble and deeply reflective. However, it later came to light that David had treated other customers similarly in the past. Although expected, it turned out that this behavior was habitual for him. It's not just once or twice, but rather he consistently displays a terrible attitude, prompting the branch manager to offer me to take appropriate action. I intervened to say, "No need to fire him," to the branch manager. A pay cut might be unavoidable given the circumstances, but I didn't think firing him was necessary. Despite his selective approach to customers, David's customer service was excellent. I believed that with proper guidance and a shift in mindset, he could become an excellent employee. I negotiated directly with the branch manager to have David transferred under my supervision. The manager was surprised, but after hearing my reasons, he agreed. Everyone makes mistakes. What's important is how one acts after making a mistake, and how we support such a subordinate. That's what I believe is crucial. These individual actions, I believe, will help grow the bank even more. David had been transferred to me, but bad rumors had already spread, branding him the worst banker. He must have heard them, but I chose not to intervene directly. One must atone for their own misdeeds through their actions. If I intervened, it would solve nothing and probably make things worse. Despite various bad-mouthing and harassment, David worked hard. He endured various gossip and harassment, yet he worked diligently. He seemed determined not to repay kindness with ingratitude. After some time, David changed his heart and became like a new person. His customer service was recognized by everyone, and eventually, the bad rumors faded away. Now, all I hear are good things about David. The most recent thing that made me happy was being directly praised by a customer for David's service. Not just once, but multiple times. "I was delighted with how kindly he treated me," said a very casually dressed elderly lady. At that moment, I felt reassured that my teachings were correct. I smiled, thinking I would continue to uphold my beliefs.